in this particular case, we did both the residence where the child lived and the mobile home park. We can also customize those questionnaires if we have something specific. We can add one or two extra questions, and I believe in this case we did that as well.
And is all of this part of the FBI's best practices for investigating reported child abductions?
Yes, this is all part of the Child Abduction Rapid Deployment Team's handbook. It's provided to state and locals. It is considered best practice.
Okay. Now, from your perspective, did the investigative team comply with best practices and follow the advice that you're giving in this case?
Yes, sir, they absolutely did.
And that starts with calling you all in the first place, I suppose.
Correct.
Now, at some point, were you involved in making contact with an outfit called Team Adam?
Yes, sir. It's because of my involvement on the CAR team and I've worked a number of these kinds of cases. One of the things that we bring to the table as the CAR team is the outreach that we have through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. One of the resources that they have is a group called Team Adam. Team Adam is a group of retired volunteers, former law enforcement. They have a number of services. They'll come out and help do the neighborhood canvases with you. They'll come out and help do any kind of search. But one of the very specific resources they have is a landfill team, and they're experts. It's a couple individuals that are really experts on landfill science. And if you've worked at these kinds of cases, that is definitely an area of concern when you have missing children as landfills. So I, after being briefed on the case and kind of seeing where some of the data was going, I reached out to our CARD headquarters at the FBI headquarters, and then we reached out to Team Adams' landfill team to bring them on as part of our assistance team.
And did anyone from Team Adams' landfill team respond to Savannah and to the Savannah area and assist in this case?
Yes, sir. Two individuals that were experts in that field came down to assist myself and the investigative team over the course of that weekend.
And by that weekend, are you referring to the first weekend of the investigation?
Yes, sir.
So, talking about Wednesday, October 5th, so we're talking about like the 8th or 9th of October.
Yeah, I don't remember the date specifically, but I know that Monday was a holiday, so it might have been Monday, the holiday day that they flew down. But I want to say they flew down on Sunday, and we met at the landfill that Monday morning on the holiday.
And by this time, a specific landfill had been identified?
Yes, sir.
And had a specific area of that landfill further been identified?
It had been. So we had, using the data that we had kind of uncovered up to that point, we were able to provide the Team Adam experts and the landfill folks some of our initial findings, and they were able to identify an area within the landfill that was most likely to contain the garbage collection from the areas that we were most interested in.
And then going forward from that, once you have an area of interest at the landfill, what services that Team Adam then provides? What do they do?
So Team Adam they speak the language of the landfill experts, and it is, I've learned, a very technical science, if you will. The way that garbage collection is brought into a landfill, it goes to a transfer station from the trucks. From the transfer station, very specifically put in an area that they've designated for that particular day, or days, whatever the length of time it is. So that these experts, they can communicate with the landfill engineers, so they can tell you that if this particular garbage truck, if you will, collected from this area on this date, it went into this particular section of the landfill, which then gave us, it's still a needle in a haystack, but it's a smaller haystack. So it's still very difficult to find, but it's a much smaller area than before.
And do they perform calculations designed to kind of guide you in estimating how much garbage you're going to have to search through and how long this might take and how many people it might take and so forth?
They do landfill searches, and I've been a part of several of them. They're very difficult. They're personnel requirements and hazmat requirements. So by having these experts tell us exactly where they feel and drawing the box and narrowing the scope of the search, because we also talk about compression rates as the truck pushes garbage down. So even though you may be looking at a small area, you may have thousands of cubic feet of trash to go through. So they help us with all those calculations, and in this particular case, they were instrumental in finding an area and then helping us decide what resources we would need to logically be able to go through that area.
What do you remember about the estimate that they provided you as in terms of how long this might take and how many people it might take?
It was long, and it was going to be expensive, but it was not undoable. It was short enough that we felt like if we wanted to find Quinton Simon's remains, that would be it was worth the efforts to do.
Was it on the order of weeks?
Yes, sir. I believe it was more than 3. I can't remember exactly, but it was definitely not going to be more. It was definitely going to be more than a couple weeks.
One moment, please.
Yes, sir.
Now, I want to just briefly go back to the Henry Bubba Moss aspect of the case. Did you have ongoing contact with him for a period of time?
I did.
And how did he communicate with you?
We communicated through text, through phone calls, and through in person.
So had he provided a phone number with you? Or to you, I mean?
We got it, I think, first, but then he confirmed that was his, and I talked to him. Mostly, he was very difficult. He works, and he's a laborer, so he's often out doing stuff and doesn't have immediate access to his phone. So I would sometimes text him, and he would get back to me later to meet up. There was several meetings that we had through the process.
Do you see in front of you a document marked as State's Exhibit 82?
I do.
Do you recognize that document?
I do recognize that.
Is it a screenshot of a portion of your text messages with Henry Bubba Moss?
Yes, sir, it is.
Does it fairly and accurately depict that portion of the text messages?
It does.
And more importantly, does it contain his phone number on it?
It does contain his phone number.
Your Honor, I would introduce this into evidence as State's Exhibit 82.
I don't have any objections, Judge. I've already reviewed it.
Very well. State's Exhibit 82 is admitted.
Now, can you read from that exhibit and tell us what his phone number was?
His phone number is 706-526-1978.
Text messages from during the investigation, not recently, right?
They were during the investigation from my phone to his phone.
All right, thank you. One moment, please, Your Honor. No further questions, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Dean. Mr. Hilliard?
I don't have any questions for this
All
witness,
right.
Judge.
Very well. Thank you, and there's, I presume, no reason to not excuse him.
No, you need to excuse Your Honor.
To excuse him.
Thank you, Your Honor. These documents.
You can, are those documents, hand those off to Mr. Dean. Then Mr. Dean is probably going to give those to the clerk. Okay, Mr. Dean, who would you call next as a witness?
I'm ready to resume with Detective Lemons, if I can remember where I left off. I'm ready to do that. I don't know whether anybody wants a break before we do that, or if we want to carry on.
I see lots of motions that say keep it going. You're not doing what everybody doing. Okay, so Detective Lemons, come back and take your place at the witness stand. You are under oath. You remain under oath. And Mr. Dean, whenever you are ready.
Thank you. All right. Going back to State's Exhibit 13, which has been introduced into evidence and identified as the October 5th, 2022, Day 1 interview recordings, okay? And this is the very last frame of the last interview that we watched. Can you look up at the timestamp to tell us when and the day this interview ended?
It is 10/5/2022 at 16:30:32.
4:30 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. Now, after this interview was over, did you guys take a break?
We did.
And during the break, what was happening?
We were gathering as a case team, discussing everyone's separate interviews, what information we've collected from the scene, from the interviews, and what we were going to do next.
And was one of the next things you did, or the next thing you did with the defendant, is ask her to write a written statement?
We did.
And how did that begin?
So we did that with her, Paul, and Daniel. Each one of the groups had a form that we read from explaining what we were looking for in the written statement. They all agreed to do it.
Now, before you, was she in the interview room still when you asked her or approached her about writing a written statement?
Yes,
Okay. Before you did that, did the two of you at some point go out and smoke a cigarette together?
we did.
Are you a smoker?
I'm not.
You were that day, though?
It was that day.
While you were smoking a cigarette with her, I presume that was outside?
It was, yes.
Okay. Did you, two of you kind of engage in small talk?
We did.
Did she talk to you about her family, things like that?
Yes,
Did she mention anything in particular to you about Zane and her relationship with Zane, her oldest child?
she did.
What do you remember her saying?
She talked very fondly of Zane, how he got her through a lot of emotional issues in her life.
And did you catch in one of the recordings that we've already watched, her saying something about the importance of the first 24 hours of a missing persons investigation?
Yes.
What did she say about that earlier, as best you remember?
She was just stressing the importance that we find Quinton within those 24 hours, and I believe she mentioned the odds were going to decrease after that 24 hours.
Did that seem to be her understanding of how these things work?
Yes.
That if 24 hours goes by without the person being found, and the odds kind of tank?
Yes.
While you were outside smoking a cigarette together, did she repeat that same thing?
She did.
And did she say anything to you while you were smoking a cigarette outside about her relationship with Bubba, with Henry Bubba Moss Jr., Quinton's father, during the time period that she was pregnant with Quinton?
Yes.
What do you remember her saying about that?
That her and Bubba had already split up before she even found out that she was pregnant. And then she talked about how Bubba didn't believe that she was pregnant, and that she had Quinton by herself. Like she gave birth to Quinton by herself.
Now, it was after that cigarette and that conversation that she was placed back in the interview room?
Yes.
And sometime after that, you all approached her to write a written statement?
Correct.
One moment, please, Your Honor. I'm going to try to turn this TV on. So I'm opening up from State's Exhibit 13, a file labeled Interview Room 1857 to 1947.
So we've talked about a lot.
What time are we at now?
1858.
6:58 p.m.?
Yes.
All right. And what's about to happen here?
We're about to read from the form her instructions for the written statement.
And there's some things that I'm sure you want to, be sure that we completely understand. And so because of that, I want to take the time and just have you write, from start to finish, what we talked about. And I got a couple of things here I want to read to you. And then I'm going to leave this with you and then give you the opportunity to put in your words, what happened, from really, starting, yesterday. Pick up the kids. Yeah, forward to when you made the 911 call. Okay. So I'm going to put the date on here. Today is October the 5th. So 10/5/22. So I'm just going to read this out. I'm going to read this piece of paper with you. And you can read it again. I want you to completely understand kind of the purpose and the thought process of the statement. So just read along with me, okay? Before recording any of your memories on today, take as long as you need to picture in your mind where you were, what you saw, what you were thinking, how you were feeling at that time. Why should you do this? Thinking about the event before writing down your memories will help you remember more details. So don't just look at it, just don't start randomly write things. Take a minute and figure out how you want to put your thoughts on paper, okay? Give yourself plenty of time to concentrate. Visualize what happened in your mind. Think about the following things. Where you were, what you were doing, who you were with, how you were feeling, what was happening, what was involved, what you could see, what you could hear. It may help sometimes to close your eyes and kind of process this and think about it. There's a lot of things you talked about. There's some things that, I don't want to call them lies, just things that we had to come back and readdress. So I encourage you to take the time to reflect. And anything that we haven't talked about, feel free to put that in there as well. And then once you're satisfied you've managed to fully remember the event, turn the page and continue. So right here, this is just, some limited, lines here, and the space provided with today's date, write down the things you remember them. It doesn't matter if you remember the things out of order in which they happened. Don't leave out any of the details. Write every detail you remember about the entire day, no matter how insignificant it may seem. The time that you remember where you put the spaghetti on the stove to cook the noodles. That's the type of detail that we're looking for you in this state. Okay. Use as many pages as you need. Take as much time as you like. Don't guess about the details. If you can't remember, just put basically I know this happened, but I can't remember the exact time. And just make sure it's complete and as accurate as possible. And we're going to give you as much time as you need to do this. Don't rush it. This is the biggest thing in my life right now. I know it's the biggest thing in your life. So just know that we're here and we're going to continue to, like I told you earlier, turn over every leaf possible. Okay. You have any questions on? Okay. So you're more than welcome to read through that again. There's an extra pen in case this one goes out. We're going to step outside. If you need anything, just knock on the door. And we'll be more than happy to come here and accommodate you. Okay.
All right, after those instructions that we just watched, did the defendant proceed to complete a written statement in the interview?
She did.
And did she eventually come to the door and let you all know that she was finished with it?
She did.
And did she give it to you?
Yes.
Do you see in front of you a document marked as State's Exhibit 17?
I do.
Do you recognize that document?
I do.
What is it?
So the front page is the instructions that we had given her, and the following pages is her statement. Or her statement.
Is it a fair and accurate copy of the original written statement that she completed?
It is.
Your Honor, I would introduce this into evidence as State's Exhibit 17.
Objection, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit 17 is admitted without objection.
Now, those instructions that we heard Special Agent Snyder reading on the video, is that what he was reading from, the front page of that?
Yes.
Okay. I'd like to publish this to the jury now by having you read her written statement. Not all the instructions, because we just heard this, but what she wrote.
Okay. My fiance and I picked up the kids from the babysitter, Michelle McCarta, around 4:30 p.m. When we got home, I started cooking dinner. I was cooking the sausage and the hamburger meat for the spaghetti, while Daniel, my fiance, was getting the kids settled down and cleaning the room. After we ate, I put Zane, Quinton, and Sky in the bath to start getting ready for bed. I then took them all out of the bath, dried them off, put pajamas on them, and gave Zane and Quinton both a cup and their tablets. It was probably around 8 p.m. I decided to put a movie on and played with my kids for about an hour and a half. So no, it's about 9:30 p.m. and I just laid Quinton in bed with his cup and Mickey Mouse stuffed animal. I gave him his tablet to help him lay down and started to relax for the night. After I laid Zane down with his cup and tablet, Quinton was very talkative when I finally took the tablet away around 10 p.m. But it didn't even take 20 minutes before he was fast asleep. During this time, Danny was cleaning up from dinner, doing laundry, and laying on the bed with Sky. After Quinton fell asleep and Zane fell asleep, which was no later than 10:25 p.m., Danny and I started to get into it. And because I had just gotten my wisdom teeth removed earlier that day, I was already aggravated because my mouth hurt. So I decided to take a quick drive to 204 to pay back $20 we owed on a front to a guy named Red. Before I even left the house, I checked all three kids. All three of them were fast asleep. I left at 10:33 p.m. Arrived at 204 at 10:44 p.m. and arrived back home at 10:54 p.m. I then checked on all the kids one more time before I crawled into bed with Daniel. I then attempted to get some rest, but my mouth was keeping me awake. I stay in bed for about 2 hours until 1 a.m. until I finally had enough of my mouth hurting. So I got up, called Circle K to see if they had any Orajel, and they didn't. So I got in contact with a old coworker of mine named Misty, and she did have Orajel. So I left the house at 1:13 a.m., rode up to the Chevron at the end of Buckholter, and got some Orajel. When I got back home again, it was 1:25 a.m. I went to the bathroom as soon as I got home and applied the Orajel. I then checked on all the kids again, and they were all perfectly fine. Zane was asleep in his little race car bed with his tablet on his chest. Quinton was asleep in his playpen with his cup and Mickey Mouse stuffed animal. I moved his hair out of his face, and little man grabbed his blanket, snuggled up to it. Sky was asleep on the couch, and Danny was laying on the bed. I then crawled back into bed after double-checking the locks on the door at probably around 1:45 a.m. I go to sleep. When I wake up, it's 8:59 a.m. on the dot. The very first thing I noticed was my door was open. I immediately closed the door and checked to make sure all the kids were there, but they weren't. Zane was, Sky was, but Quinton wasn't. I start to panic. I searched the whole house, top to bottom, inside and out, and my baby was nowhere to be found. I called Danny because he went to work at 6 a.m., asked if he'd seen Quinton or took him to the babysitter. He said no, that Quinton was in his playpen when he left and that the door was closed, not opened. So at 9:17 a.m., and I called 911 to report my son missing. After I called 911, I called Michelle, the babysitter, to urgently come help me look. Danny was at work when I called him and came straight home. He was home before the cops arrived. All I could keep saying was, "I need my baby. Where is my baby?" Note, please do everything possible to bring my little man, my monkey, my Quinton home to me, please.
Now, in the instructions that are on the front of that form that we heard Special Agent Snyder read, is it fair to say that the defendant was urged to be thorough?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that she was urged to be truthful?
Yes.
Is it fair to say that she was urged to include every detail?
Yes.
Okay. So, if she had wanted to revise her story about what she was doing at the drug dealer, would this have been a good time to do that?
It would have.
If she had wanted to say, I wasn't actually at the Chevron, I went next to the dumpsters at Azalea, would this have been a good time to do that?
Yes.
Let me ask you this, was there any mention of throwing trash away at Azalea in this statement?
There was no mention of her going to Azalea.
Okay. Any mention of throwing trash away anywhere at all?
No.
All right. Would these instructions have called for that detail?
It would have.
Now, while she was sitting in the interview room between interviews, what was she doing?
She was eating a few times, talking to some of the officers walking by, or the ones that were sitting there watching everyone.
Now, at some point, did she make a disclosure to an officer out in the hallway about anger problems, behavioral issues?
She did.
And was that captured on camera?
It was.
Your Honor, at this time, I would publish from State's Exhibit 13 a file entitled Interview Room 2057 to 2103.
You may proceed.
Now, what time is this at?
So the timestamp on this is 21:01.
So 9 p.m.?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to keep asking.
I know.
And who's she talking to?
I believe she's talking to Officer Carlson and Agent Solomon.
Okay, Savannah Solomon?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And what are we going to hear her say, more or less?
She's talking about her anger issues and how she can snap into anger very quickly.
And I'll publish this now, Your Honor.
There are days that I wake up, or days that something so little just might happen. Just like a trigger. And a snap. And it's almost like I'm a completely different person. The way I talk, the way I move, the way I look at you, everything, even my tone of voice. Can you feel that happening? Yeah. But it's like, when it happens, I have finally reached a certain level of anger or stress or whatever it might be at that moment that it's like a switch. Yeah. I don't even realize it until after I've calmed down that I just seriously tripped on you and treated you like that for no reason. And then I'm left apologizing to everybody. Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm crazy. I don't know what happened. I don't even know why I did that. And half the time when it happens or randomly happens like that, and it's not like the slowly transition or whatever, it's it's because I don't even know how to explain it. If I'm doing pretty good throughout the day and I've had a good day overall, and then something went trigger, it's slower. I can feel it. I can feel myself changing the way I talk, the way I think, the opinions I have, everything. I can feel the difference. But when it happens, like a day like today, with the amount of stuff going on and stress and emotion or whatever, that's a snap.
Now, sometime after that, did you and Special Agent Snyder interview her again in the interview?
We did.
Okay. And before that, had you further searched her phone?
Yes.
And had you seen messages in her phone about buying, using Percocets?
We did.
And is that, at least in part, what you wanted to talk to her about?
Yes.
And did you all talk to her
We did.
about that?
Yeah.
What did she say about the Percocet messages?
That she was buying them for a friend.
Friend name?
Cheyenne.
And did you ask her whether she uses any drugs other than marijuana?
We did.
Now, she had mentioned smoking marijuana earlier, right, but hadn't mentioned any other drug use.
That's correct.
And in this next interview, when you asked her whether she does any drugs other than marijuana, what did she say?
She said that she had in the past, but not currently.
Your Honor, this next interview is something close to an hour long. I'm ready to play it, but I will just float that to the court and the jury, I suppose.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is 4:25. I think we should take a quick break. We're going to fit this exhibit in. We're going to hear it. I want to give you guys a quick break before we sit you down for an hour, okay? So let's take a quick break. Let's make it 10 minutes. It's 4:25. We'll be ready to go at 4:35. We're in recess.
While you're exiting,
Dean's staff attorney. Mr. Dean, you can go ahead and proceed with the showing of the video.
Thank you, Your Honor. So when we left off, you said that you looked through her phone a little further and seen some messages about Percocets, I think.
Yes.
And you were going to go in with Special Agent Snyder again and ask her about those messages and ask her about her drug use,
Yes.
of which she had told you to this point that all she'd done the night before was smoke
Marijuana.
marijuana. And did this interview start at about 9:26 p.m.?
Yes.
All right. I'll go ahead and publish from State's Exhibit 13 a file entitled Interview Room 2126, 2229.
Anything before we sit down and get the phone?
My brother's ordering food. Yeah,
Alright. Thank you so much for being patient with us. There's just a lot of things we're trying to work through and figure out, so, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I do well with
Yeah, I appreciate you.
as much detail as I could, and I was being like, this is who.
A lot of good detail in here, so we appreciate you taking the time, so.
And I was trying my hardest to think about exactly what Danny was doing when I was in here, because the kids were even on this for a bit. I couldn't get the timers on it, but I do know that he was cleaning up for dinner too much.
Yeah, your memory is, it's incredible when it comes to the exact times, yes.
There's a lot to do with Life 360. We're trying to keep a schedule with my kids. Trying to.
I barely got to the morning at times.
Now, anything in particular you can remember, when you went to meet Red in the area of Flacco's tacos? Is there anything you remember about that? Any cars that you saw? Anything, that stuck out?
No, I can tell you this for fact, because I watched Red pull off and go the opposite direction of where I went before I pulled off.
Which way did he go?
He went up towards, not towards,
Opposite of 95.
opposite of 95, there you go, that direction.
Was there any other cars in the parking lot?
None of all that I could see, not probably not. There's a register across the street, but there's always a whole bunch of cars there, so I can look at it.
Okay.
Tell you about that.
And how about the Orgeat?
The orange,
How did you pay for that?
oh, I didn't. I called my friend Misty, because she already had some.
Okay.
Because when I called Circle K and they didn't have any, I got in contact with her. And I had to get off a text now because her phone's not on. Whatever. So I did that. I met her right there at the showroom. She walked up there. She handed it to me. And she remembered all of it.
Okay.
So that Orgeat, you will find it in the bathroom.
And you notice anything at the Chevron? Any cars there at all?
And just the U-Hauls that they normally have parked here.
Okay, how many other gates at the Chevron on the corner of
Buckhalter.
Buckhalter? Yeah.
So when you get to that light, if you're coming from my house, heading towards 17, you would go right. And it's literally immediately on the right-hand side. There was only one time, and I really didn't think this was relevant because it was months ago, that I left at Jasmine's Food Mart about 9 o'clock at night. Oh, thank you. It's my little brother's food.
Looking after big sister.
I left there, I'm pretty sure I was just picking up a couple of beers for dinner, and there was this little tan car that followed me almost all the way past the school. But by the time I had passed the school and was pulling into the driveway, the car had stopped and turned around, so I didn't think much of it. But they did pull out for Jasmine's the moment I did, and followed me all the way down that road until I passed that school.
What time was that?
It was about 9 o'clock that night. I can't tell you exactly what day it was. I don't even when I know it was about 9 o'clock at night, because I had work at 6 o'clock that next morning. And I was working 12-hour shifts, so it was probably on a Wednesday. And that's when I first started. It was Thursday, Friday, and Saturday shift. It was probably a couple months ago that happened. Yeah. But that's the only time that I can ever remember anybody following me, and the person looked like he was probably like escaped or Mexican. That's fine.
And the time that you got home last night, what time was that?
After I went to a fort, or after that, it was like 10:54, 10:53. It was before 11.
Okay. And then you made the you woke up at 9.
Yeah, it's
You
not.
woke up at 9. Did you wake up at all before that? Were you lying awake in bed, or was your teeth just hurt so bad you were out until you woke up?
I was out until I woke up. When I finally was able to get enough relief to actually go to sleep, I was out until I woke up.
Okay.
Like I didn't feel anything out of bed. I didn't hear no alarms. I didn't hear any doors shut. I didn't hear the car cranked up. I didn't hear the pool filter come on just right next to the corner of my room where the bed is. And so I didn't hear anything. When I got up at 9, that's what was it? So between about 1:45 and 9 o'clock, I was asleep the whole time.
And then just walk me through again, and we'll tell you, I just want to understand exactly when you woke up, what was the, give me step by step, what you did.
So the way the room is set up, my bed, as soon as you wake up, you can see the front door. So as soon as I woke up and I sat up, I seen the door was open. I got up immediately, went and shut the door, and went and made sure all the kids were there. And when I noticed Quinton was there, I searched the whole house, up and down, in and out, front yard, backyard, side yard, everything that I could search. Couldn't find him. So I called Eddie.
What makes you know it was exactly that time? Did you have your phone with you, or how did you know what time it was?
It was like when I woke up, the first thing I did was look at my phone. Like first automatic reaction was look at my phone, and I got up, making sure it was like, if it was like 7 o'clock, I went back to sleep, because the kids weren't going to be up yet. You know, if it was 9, and these kids were going to get up pretty soon, so I went ahead and got up. I got up and looked at it immediately, went to shut the door. Looked at the couch, stopped right there, looked at the bed across in front of the playpen. Same right there, looked at the playpen, Clayton went there. I called Danny, and I searched the house inside.
When did you notice the door?
The door, as soon as I woke up, like I got up, looked at my phone, seen the time, looked at my door was open.
And what door was this exactly?
The very front door of the house. And that door is normally always locked unless somebody's awake. So,
And then when, and you, tell me the call pattern. So who did you call? Did you go see Paul first upstairs, or did you call Danny?
I called Danny first. Called Danny first, and then I ran upstairs to Paul, and he said no. Whenever I ran upstairs to Paul, and I said, for some reason, is he in your room? Because he's not anywhere else in the house, and he's not outside. No. Alright? So then I called 911, and then I called Michelle. And I called Michelle to come over and to pretty much try to help me look and search more while I got the other 2 kids in the house. So, and she came over right away. She was there before the cops got there.
So was Danny with you?
He was at work.
Or when you called 911?
When I called, no.
He was not with you?
No, I think he was. So I think he had called me as soon as I got off the phone or something like that, saying that he was about to be home. So he was on the way. So I called him and he was there like on 17, on 20, something like that. And that's good timing, this week it's a 20-minute ride to work.
Right. You mentioned that you and Danny had some sort of argument. You were frustrated.
Yeah, I was frustrated, and it wasn't like an argument. It was more like a, I don't understand why you don't want to touch me type of stuff. So once again, I was feeling worthless. Pretty much. And the only way I could make myself get away from that and to try not to get 100% into that type of mindset was to take off for a minute.
And so when you left the house last night at roughly
Like 10:30.
10:30, so you left the house at 10:30. Was it kind of one of those situations where you leave and you slam the door and like you're not on good terms with Danny?
It was
So
more,
you left.
I looked at him and I was like, yeah, let's look at him straight in the face and say, before this escalates and it gets to where we're arguing and yelling and keeping everybody up in the next place, I'm just going to go away for a minute and I'll be back. We'll talk. And so, well, we're there to do it for me. We're Flores, then we went over Flores. Gave him $20, went back to the house, and we talked.
Don't talk about.
I crawled into bed. I crawled into bed with him with and all the kids. I got back or whatever and laid there for a minute and we just talked.
Did you talk about the problems you were having?
Yeah, we were talking. He was talking about how he doesn't know how to explain that becoming a father. I think it had a lot to do with his sex drive.
His what?
Sex drive.
Has it changed some?
It's not
It's not all.
So it's changed a lot, and that had a lot to do with the way I've been feeling about myself too a lot lately. Because I'm sitting there thinking that it's me. Like, maybe it's just about me. You just don't want it anymore.
Were you trying to do something before?
No, it was like I can hold things in. So what I was talking to him about was a few days ago.
What happened?
Like it started, and then he lost his hunter, and he lost 2 minutes. And then try again.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything about it for a couple days. And I finally said something yesterday. And I didn't want it to turn into an argument, which is why I didn't say something about it when it happened. So when it started getting heated with us just talking, I was trying to avoid it. Left, went to go pay rent, and came back. We were able to for a minute talking about it. And I finally stopped talking. So my health is hurting. And I told him, I was like, we got to the end of the, like, we're good. And I laid there for a minute, and he went to sleep pretty quick after we finished talking. Me, I got my ear tossing and turning because I'm trying.
So Percocets help some?
If I had Percocet, you know, first 5 days, 100 milligrams would be broken.
So you didn't get a Percocet from Red when you were out there?
I just gave him $20. And even if I did want to get a Percocet, that'd be $35.
When was the last time you got some?
Last time? I was 4-6 months ago. I don't do those like that. Like, if anything, anybody gotta worry about anything with me is smoking weed. Because that was the hell was weed. I'll be honest about that. Everything else, no. My mom's a drug addict. I watched her OD. I see her always get covered up in things in the kitchen. So I say, no. Anything that's not homegrown or bought at a convenience store, I don't want it. When I mean homegrown, I don't mean cooked on stove, I mean grown out of dirt. I don't know if they're homegrown and grown, not created.
Yeah.
You know.
There's some things, you know, that you just got to, you have to answer for, so we have to get a better understanding as to, you know, what went on. You know that you gave us the authorization to go through the text messages. There's text messages in there about you purchasing Percocet as recently as within the past 24 to 40 hours.
Yeah.
So just, would you mind talking about that? Is that dated, or help me understand that?
Is it dated? So,
What's your story?
sometimes when you ask me if I've done it, I haven't done it recently. I do have a friend named Cheyenne. Cheyenne Crosby, who lives in Gerard Avenue. She will call me from time to time. I'll place it a call log. She can call me a long ago, asking for perks or whatever if I can get it, and I'll pay for it. I'll drop it off. Whatever, or I'll get it dropped off, and she'll come pick it up. So, but no, we haven't been messing with the Percocets.
So when was the last time that you actually exchanged a text message with somebody about using Percocets or buying Percocets for somebody else? When do you think that was?
It's been a couple of times the past couple of weeks.
Okay.
So, I can't tell you exactly the last time. It was probably day before yesterday, I want to say it probably was.
So we gotta go back to an accident taking place at the house. What happened at the house with Quinton? And I'm looking at you in the eye, and I'm being as passionate and as serious and as genuine, and I hope you see that.
I do. I do. I see. I really do.
All we have to do,
I want you to know that there was no,
it's fine, Quinton.
there was no accident. There was no playing in somebody's head. There was no, oh, the TV fell over or something like that. Nothing like that at all happened. When we got home, Daddy took them into the room, started getting them settled down, out of the car seat, you know, taking their shoes off, getting their tablets and toys going on as I started cooking. The night went like a normal night. This is what I don't get.
We know that from 11:40 until about 9:22 that the door didn't open. You have a pretty sophisticated ADT alarm system.
I'm sorry to interrupt the playback, especially at 5 till 5. But what Special Agent Snyder is saying right here, we know that the front door didn't open until 9:22. Where had y'all gotten that information?
From Leilani's brother, Joe.
Okay. Had Joe come into the precinct as well?
Yes, I drove him. I drove him there.
You drove him there, and had he sat down for an interview with a different detective?
Yes, Detective Noble.
Okay, and Detective Noble will talk about what Joe was able to show him on Joe's phone in the way of ADT records?
Yes.
Okay.
So we know the door never opened. You tell us the door was open.
The door was open. When I woke up, the door was open. That door was 100% open. And like, the reason why I can tell you that for a fact, no matter what you say about that camera system thing is, since my cousin William was staying at that house, and when that camera is in front of the house or whatever, he unplugged it the moment that he moved in. You know, so the security system is not a security system if it's not being used properly. The door was open about that far. From here, when it shuts, about that far. That was open for a fact. I was just like, it's hard not to wake up and see the sun shining right in your face. Life was a normal night. Food, bed, bath, movie, everything that we normally do. TV on, laying down. We had a bath, you know.
At least you went to be normal, but something happened that night that was not normal. And that's all we're looking to do. You've been through a lot of trauma in your life.
And the thing is, I got something to do. It was not normal. I was not aware or made aware, or it was when I was not home or was asleep, because not one thing went weird or wrong or out of the ordinary after we got the kids at 4:30. Not one thing. At all. Not even when the kids were acting or behaving. They were doing just fine. I really didn't mean this.
Were you both home until you decided to go out and talk to Red? You and Danny?
Yeah, both home. Annie was the only one home when I left by the time we got back, Paul, so.
And it's just y'all that drive the cars too?
Yeah, us three, we drive between the three of us, we drive the truck and the Dodge. That's all we drive.
And then Paul's the one that drives the...
He drives the truck, no, the truck. He drives the truck more often. We drive the Dodge more often, it's better on gas.
What kind of car is the Dodge?
It's a 2015 Dodge Journey.
Okay. Is that what y'all went to go pick up the kids in?
That's what we picked up the kids in. That's what I used when I went to 204 and when I went to get the overtime.
Okay.
That's exactly what I used.
Gotcha. And you just took the normal route down Buckholder for both of those?
Yep.
And what time was that again that you picked up the kids?
4:30.
4:30.
It could have been way earlier, but we wouldn't try to like.
Is there any way it could have been later?
No. Like I'm saying, we would have picked them up way earlier if we didn't have to go and pick up my mess and then go to the house and want to clean the house and straighten that stuff up. So it would have been earlier because we did leave work earlier that day because we wanted to go get this done. But we left at like 8 or 7. 7:30 we left work yesterday. And when we got to the office, the doctor's office or whatever, they had me in there by 8:30, out by 9:32. Something like that, 9:32. Whatever. And then we went and dropped off prescriptions. We went to Kroger's. We went to the house. We straightened up the house down. Or whatever. And I relaxed for a minute, some more salt water and watching Netflix, not Netflix, HBO Max. I don't got Netflix on there. Oh, whatever. And then I told him to text Michelle, make sure it was okay if we picked him up at 4:30. If that was still okay, let her know what's going on. Like, yes, we are home, but this is what's going on. And that's what we did. And we picked him up at 4:35 to be exact. Told him that. I can show you that too.
Well, I don't doubt your memories are impeccable. I mean, some of the exact times you have on here, to a certain extent. And again, it goes back to the trauma that you experienced. And you gotta understand that bad news doesn't get better with time. Okay? And so.
And that's what I'm freaking out the most about. This is the most dark time. It's already dark. My brother's getting cold. I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's warm. I don't know if he's fed. I don't even know if he's okay in general. And that's what I want to know. I don't understand that y'all are going to be so strong. I do. I 100% do. But there is nothing about last night that stood out, that was out of the ordinary, or that didn't go as a normal night goes. Minus the fact of me hauling tail when I did to go Red and get ordered out. That was it. Those are the only two things that did not go as normal.
But Lauren, these accidents happen. Things happen that in your mind that you want to suppress, that you just want to push as far away from reality as possible. And that happens. That happens in everybody's life. You know, but there's things here that just aren't adding up. And I want you to help us understand that.
Yeah,
okay?
and I've been
Your car, the Dodge Journey. You drive that.
Yeah.
What's the white powder that's scoped in the back of that? What is that?
Baby cereal that busted in a cereal bag back when we were shopping. That's baby cereal.
Mine's the Dodge Journey with your tag up in north and south on Geechee Road at 6 o'clock in the afternoon, 6 o'clock in the evening, yesterday.
Yesterday, it was at 6. He was probably going to go get beer.
So that was him driving.
That was most likely him trying to go get beer. I don't remember leaving at 6. I don't think I left at 6. No, I didn't leave nothing at all.
What kind of beer does he drink?
Natural Lights.
Where does he put the cans when he drinks?
We have a bag that we normally tie in the closet in our bedroom. We're going to put them in there. And I don't like, I wanted to in the car. He tells me up and down, and he doesn't drink in the car. But I've done 5 bottles of little fireballs and cans before, so that I don't know. I don't know.
Well, I just help us out. Like we have a combination of a lot of things here. We have you told us to know about this that you're going through. So you have a wisdom tooth pull. You're a heavy sleeper. We have Danny, who you told us is a drinker and combined, beer with Fireball. And we have the door that we know with a pretty good degree of certainty. I mean, again, it's not what you believe, but the door didn't open between basically 11:54 last night and 9:20 this morning. And then your sophisticated security system.
Yeah, and that's crazy to know because you keep on saying that. But after I got back from getting the orange out, I walked out on the front porch and smoked a cigarette before I laid down. So that door has opened between those times, and when I woke up, that door was open.
But she got back home at 10:55.
That was after I paid rent. I said after I went and picked up the Uber gel. That would have been about 1:30 that I stepped outside on the front porch in the morning. So, but no, nothing out of the ordinary.
Would you have any other times throughout the night?
No, I didn't get up any other time after that.
Was anybody else coming or going from the house?
No, they ain't went to work. That was the last time anybody should have left the house after I got back.
Well, just help us help you, okay? Well, this isn't going away. Like, we are going to get to the bottom of this. If we have to stay here
You need to understand.
all night.
I don't want anything to go away. I want him to be found.
And that's the only way we're going to
I know that, and I've given you everything that I could. I even sat there when I was writing this out, over reading it, rereading it, writing and checking and making sure that I was writing down every little thing that I think that happened between then and now, and I don't know where my baby is. I don't know what happened to him, and all I know is that you're gonna sit here constantly trying to ask me to help you find him, I was honest about it. So I don't know what happened to my child. And I don't know where my baby is. I don't know if there was an accident when I left and nobody said anything about it. I don't know. But all I know is I need my baby back home. That's all I know. Okay? I need her back home. I need my family together again.
I don't understand this. I don't understand this. Why was the door, not the front door, but the living room door, the dining room door, open somewhere between 15 and 25 times throughout the night?
What door?
The living room door.
The living room door.
The living room and dining room door.
The dining room door.
Any other door? Any other door than the front door?
I was gonna say the dining room door people are quite in and out frequently. Now the other door nobody's been in and out.
Last night specific.
Last night?
Yeah.
I know that at one point I went out the back door to the play side.
Well, yeah, again, it's just you trying to help.
I looked in the back door of the play side to try to collect all the cups and stuff that I always find everywhere. Because, 11 something, I had already went to red and came back. Okay, I had already went to red and came back. It was 11 something. I'm just trying to help. Just straighten up and clean up. That's all that was. And I opened that door, but that door only opened, that door on that side only opened twice. The other one would be in and out between Paul going in and out, Danny going in and out, letting the dogs out. You know, that's the only time the other door would be open and up.
Paul's asleep upstairs. He doesn't come down until you call him.
Yeah.
Danny is sound asleep because when you get home, you guys lay in the bed together and you go to sleep. So, the front door, I'll give you that. Okay, maybe it doesn't trigger, when it opens, one time.
Yeah, you were talking about that thing on the top of it? That hasn't worked since I've been in that room. Now, the white thing has not worked since I've been in that room or since I've been in the house. That has not worked. Anytime you open that door, it does not talk. Does not make a noise at all.
So, do you think when you came home from red and you brushed Glenn's hair, was he alive at that point?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, 100%. He was warm, his cheeks were pink, and I touched his hair and moved it. He moved and curled over like this. Grabbed a blanket, curled over. So yes, that baby's alive. Someone else here and you think that he's dead. Please don't do that. He's not. Whoever he is, he's not. I can't live with that. I can't live with that. He was alive last time I seen my baby. He was alive and he was moving and he had color in his face. And he was my happy baby.
I can see the joy when you talk about Quinton.
He was my happy baby. He was my happy baby.
What should you say in there?
He was my happy baby.
Was, not his.
Was.
Paused it at 22:08:01 to ask that question, resuming playback now.
I need him to come home. I need him to come home. I need him to find him and make sure he's okay. He could come home.
That's all we want to do. We want to find him wherever he is. If he needs attention right now, that's all we want to do is find him. Bring him back to his mother.
I don't know.
If an accident happened, we have to do some sort of accident happen.
What's the thing? It's like, I want to.
Just tell us what happened. That's all we want to know.
There was no accident. There was no somebody falling. There was no horse playing. There was no door being left over and a child walked outside. There was none of that. None of it at all. Then whatever happened, somebody picked that baby up out of that playmate and they took him with them. That's what they did. There's no way he can get out of that playmate on his own. No way. At all. Now that being tipped over by his brother or somebody picking him up or having a toy there to step on. He could not get out of there. So I don't know what happened to him. I don't know where he is. I don't know if something happened when I was back home. I don't know. I don't know who to trust. I don't know who to talk to. I don't know if his family does the worst thing to you. So how am I supposed to know? I don't know. I don't know. But I tell you this, we get not be left alone with nobody again.
What, and I think here's the office. You don't trust Danny 100%.
And that's because of what he's done to me. The cheating. That's why I don't trust him 100% when it comes to my kids. I've never doubted him. I've never doubted him. My mother has. My mother's doubted him before. I have never doubted him. I have never come home and seen marks on my kids. I have never came.
Do you think he takes care of it when he's...
Yes, he does. He take care of him, that man.
What if I told you that if you're not home by the time that you say you're supposed to be home, and Danny is there with the kids by himself, that he just leaves? He just leaves the kids there unattended. Would that be a surprise to
that is something he would not do.
That's something that he does.
Huh?
Yeah.
I don't. Did he say that?
We told you we're looking at every possible.
Somebody's left my kids unattended before when I wasn't home.
And that's what we're trying to get to. What else has Danny done? What accident happened?
I don't know if there was an accident.
What did he talk to you about?
He
Say anything?
said nothing at all about the kids when I got home. Nothing. He just laid there and he was just talking about my anger issues, my mental problems, what makes him turned off about me. And I did the same and told him about what turns me off about him. And he went, yeah, so I understand. I understand. I don't think he would do me, but then again, I didn't think he would leave my kids alone. I don't understand this, man. They only have no leaves on my babies. Delete on them at all.
I mean, we were working nonstop on this. And we're not gonna stop. I can promise you, when you leave here tonight, there's folks working throughout the night and tomorrow until we find Quinton. But we really are leaning on you, right now. Based off everything that we know at this point, I think we'll both agree that something happened. Quinton was crying. Somebody got frustrated. Maybe something happened that you weren't expecting. And Quinton fell unconscious. And you're 23 years old. You don't know how to handle situations like that. Danny didn't know how to handle situations where, you said you don't remember him falling, but you said multiple times throughout the interview, we've gone back and forth, he was battling. There were some times he was crying. And it can get frustrating. I've got 3 kids myself.
He's not like, ever since he's been able to walk or crawl, he's always done the battling thing. And it doesn't frustrate me. I'm used to it. And then I got Satan, and then I got him, and then I got Scott. Whatever. And there was something that happened. I don't know what it was. And I would not, I want y'all both to look me in my eyes. I would not pick somebody over my children. Never would I pick somebody over my children. I would not. I don't care how much I love them. Okay? I've never once seen him hurt my kids. I have never seen marks on my kids. And nothing out the way last night made me feel like he would have done something or was acting some way like he was trying to hide something. Nothing at all made me think like that. And I am an overthinker. Okay? I am a serious overthinker. So even one little thing, it would have put that thought in my mind. I would have been thinking about it. I would have been questioning. Nothing though. He was just being Danny, being normal. Everything was being normal. Nothing is good. So something is not fucking normal. I don't understand anything.
What's that?
Why? I went to bed thinking that I was gonna wake up just like any other day and make breakfast for all of my kids. I didn't think I was gonna be waking up calling the cops because I can't find my kid. Okay? I don't know where he is. I don't know if something happened to him. I don't know at all. Okay? I don't. I've written down everything I know. I've told the cops. I've told y'all. I've told everybody everything I know or could possibly think of. All my routine, what we did, what kids did, what I did, what Danny did. I just did everything that I could. I wrote down. I wrote it down. I know I think you won't. This is what I want. I don't want to stop being questioned like I'm sitting here trying to protect somebody for doing something to my baby because I'm not that person. I'm not.
Lloyd, I understand. You have to understand that we're doing everything we can. And does it happen this day and age? It does, but very rare. That a 2-year-old, a 21-year-old young man, young kid, just at random, somebody comes into the house. There's things that cause that to happen. There's, being involved in illegal activity, and someone taking your kid, to get back at you, there's some sort of retaliation. And I think we needed that. You told us, like, hey, I paid my drug this. The whole reason I was out there at past 10 o'clock at night was to pay the drug debt to Red. I don't owe anything to Red. Danny, he drinks, he smokes some marijuana. He doesn't gamble, not involved in any sort of hardcore drug use. He doesn't have a lot of debts. So no one weeks at a minimum. So there's, the first thing that we think of and stuff like this is, hey, is this a parental kidnapping? Is there a custody dispute? Well, the only custody dispute is between you and your mom. And that's somewhat of a paper trail that you guys have done so you can still be the mother that you want to be. Your mom, granted, you don't have the best relationship with her, but she was willing to put her neck out there for you to say, hey, I'm willing to put my name in the paper that I'm going to be the primary caregiver of these children. But she's in Chicago or wherever for 3-4 months at a time. So you've got all these pressures on you as a 23-year-old young mother, that's dipping and dabbling into, drugs, dealing with Danny, who's called what she wanted, probably a heavy drinker. So you got the pressure of the world on you as a 20-year-old young lady with 3 kids in the house, an alcoholic, fiance, boyfriend. So I can't imagine what it is that you're going through. So naturally, all the things, that develop leads for law enforcement, there's not a lot of angles for us to pursue right now. And I want you to understand that that's why we're going to have to continue to rely on you and you being truthful for us to find Quinton. Because if Quinton is dead right now, there's nothing that's going to bring closure to this other than us finding him. We don't know that. But at this point, you have to understand, based off what we just walked through and we explained, that there's not a lot of angles for us to go down. Other than something happened at the house that you may not be aware of. But we're asking you to take a hard look at that. I know you love Danny. We can tell that you love Danny.
No, my kid's more than Danny. I love my kids more than Danny. Every single one. And I would do anything for my babies. Every single one of them. I don't know if there was an accident that happened. I was gone for what? Total of 4 maybe max of all the times that I left. So I don't know. Everything was normal when I came back in. There was no sudden movements. There was no awkwardness or trying to avoid me being around. There was nothing like that at all. There was nothing that would make me sit there and look at somebody and say, what the hell did you do? Nothing at all. I don't get it. I don't know.
I know that's all we want.
I've given everything that I could. Everything that I could that I could think of that I could clarify. I have done everything I could. I searched that place top and bottom multiple times before the cops even got there. Multiple times straight out into the woods in the back of my house. I don't know if something happened to him. I don't know if he's okay. I don't know if he's bad. I don't know if he's safe. I don't know. All I know is that I want him home. And I'm willing to give whatever I got to for it. And I have. This is everything from the time that we picked him up to last night to when I went to sleep to this morning. I don't know everything I know and everything that I've seen. There was no noises that I didn't hear anything. Nothing woke me up. Nothing woke me up. Daddy saying that he did kiss me behind everything didn't wake me up. So I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what I believe that he would do something like that or do anything at all to my child. But I didn't even believe that he would leave them unattended. So I don't know. That's just another example why you can't fucking trust people, especially with your kids. Especially kids. Especially when I can't even talk to her well enough to tell you if something's happening to him.
What do you think Danny did?
Daddy's never been violent. Never. I've never seen him violent. I've never, the most violent I've ever seen him got was here recently when he played on the horn and cussed somebody out in traffic because they almost ran into us. He doesn't even leave a red mark when he pops them. Not even a red mark. Not even pink one.
What do you have to talk for? What types of things we talk for?
Quinton had this thing about outlets. Trying to pick things and put them in the outlets. Or climbing up on counters into the pantry. That was Zane. He climbed up on the counter one day, turned the sink on, had a sprayer thing in there, and it was like a water park in the kitchen. Yeah. Okay? So there's things like that, just the everyday typical things that people get onto the toddlers about. Getting too close to the pool, getting too close to the stove, playing in the toilet, putting the toilet paper and stuffing it down the toilet. No matter how much thing.
Does Paul ever discipline him?
Yes, Paul will pop them too. The only people that are allowed to go in that direction, immediate family. So Paul is uncle, he's allowed to get on. Daddy's allowed to get on too. And my mom and Thomas, anybody else has to give me or them to go to.
Often this Paul.
Not often, maybe once, twice a week. And it was only like for an hour or two.
Yeah.
Like we can go pick up food or grocery shopping and come back home.
Okay.
Type stuff.
Does he, can he just come downstairs, or is there like a different way for him to get into y'all's area?
I know he has like come downstairs. Like there's that door entrance to the bathroom that leads out to the dining room and out back, and then the front door. So he has to come downstairs, walk around the kitchen, through the dining room, just to get to my room.
Is Paul doing the same job that y'all are doing?
Yes, he works at the same place, and he works 2 to 10. He works the second shift.
Yeah.
The same exact place, and if y'all need that address where we work too, I can give you that.
Yeah, so you mentioned the reasons that sometimes, they will pop, one of the kids, getting too close to the pool, playing with electrical sockets. Those are the types of things that I'm asking you to think deep on. And when you touched Quinton, when you came home, was it any different than any other night?
The way he moved, the way he did a little with his eyes when touch, how when people touch your face in your sleep or whatever, everything, it was just fine. It was fine.
Did you change his diaper?
No, I did feel it though, and it wasn't full. Like, I could still pretty much squeeze it like this, No, and then I felt it, he didn't need to be cheap. And then when I touched his face, he just rolled over and literally tried to like one hand, and then the other hand like this, and curled up. Curled up to it just like that, and he had his little Mickey Mouse stuffed animal thing in there with him.
I didn't wake up again that night.
Where was that? Where was the Mickey Mouse and the blanket and the pillow when you got up that morning?
The Mickey Mouse wasn't in there.
You didn't have it all.
It was like when I put him in bed last night, it was in there. When I got up this morning, it wasn't in there. I told the officers that too when he came in there asking if everything was there. And I was like, well, I can't touch anything, but I don't see his Mickey Mouse. His little Mickey Mouse stuffed animal looks like a regular old little Mickey Mouse. Right there, that big. He's always almost every night.
Does he usually take it around with him when he's not just sleeping?
Yeah, I will carry it on him by the foot or by the nose.
And where was the blanket?
The blanket was in the corner of the playpen.
Okay.
Almost like, like somebody picked him up and the blanket fell.
Gotcha.
This 19-year-old that was around the house, you said knocked on the door random times, or about 3 times.
I haven't seen him since the last time.
Has anybody else other than you seen him?
Paul has. Paul can probably give you a description of him for a fact. Paul was when Paul answered the door the very first time I heard him knock. So he can give you another description of him. He's got curly hair, big brown hair, light blue eyes. About 5'8", 160 pounds. Maybe weigh a little bit more than that. I don't know.
Y'all get a lot of like foot traffic over there?
No, not normally, but here recently there's been a lot of people walking up and down the roads. A lot of people. And my babysitter can confirm that as well, that she had somebody randomly pull up into her driveway and like attempt to go into her house and do her stuff until she had turned the light on and the person ran off. So
Does Paul usually hang out at night a lot?
Paul works night shift, so if he does hang out with somebody, he hangs out with them before he comes home.
We're going to step out, let you eat some of this, but I want you to think about a couple of things. I'm going to be in tonight. Don't think you should go back to the house tonight.
No, I wanted to request if I could go to my grandmother's house and that we would keep her phone so I can give her phone number as well.
We'll come back here and we'll get all that stuff.
Oh, never mind. It's true, I won't be able to go to sleep at night anyways. At least I can go home to babies. Right? I can go home to babies.
With the search having been done, it's not a good idea for you to go back to the house. It's not going to be
No, my grandma.
issue with a hotel room or anything like that.
That would probably be better, honestly. I don't have 30 minutes. But no, my grandma. Oh, my memory's really good. Keep Sky over there if we needed her to, and I can pick up the fan and go over there and stay for the night.
At a hotel?
No, my grandma's house. It's right there in Guyton.
Okay.
It was like staying there for the night and then going back to the house in the morning.
If we could find a hotel tonight, would you do that?
If we could find one tonight, I would prefer to be closer and then y'all be able to.
So does what we just watched there pretty much represent the end of that interview session?
Yes.
I think I'll reserve my follow-up questions for tomorrow.
Very well. And at this point, I think this would be a good time to release the jurors for the evening. Just a moment. I gotta tell you a thing or two. So I'm gonna release you for the evening. Obviously, the trial is not over. We have more to get to. So I want to once again reinforce my instructions. Please don't do any research. Don't talk to anybody about the case. Avoid anyone who tries to talk to you about the case. Avoid any news stories or any other media, social media and otherwise about this case. All right? And I wish you all a good night. Tomorrow we don't start the trial again until 10 o'clock. So your instructions are going to be a little different. I would imagine that you would gather at 9 o'clock rather than 8 o'clock. Okay. So now you are excused.
Yours exiting. All clear, Judge.
Okay, you step in. Is there anything from the state that we need to take up at this time?
Your Honor, I wanted to bring it to the court's attention that the jurors do not appear to be wearing the correct numbers. And if we could remedy that for tomorrow, because, for example, if we have a situation like a juror sleeping again, we need to be able to refer to them by the correct number for the record. And I've noticed that some people that are alternates are wearing lower numbers, and some of the people wearing alternate numbers I know are not alternate jurors, so I just don't think they're numbered correctly.
Okay. Deputy Solomon, I'm going to ask you to follow up with the jurors, and you may want to follow up with jury management about making sure that the jurors have on their correct numbers.
We got 16 jurors, it should be all on number 16, no one with alternate as of yet.
I know, but I don't think anybody, yeah, it's 1 through 16, but I think the problem is, I think even one of them wasn't wearing their jury number, and they may not have the right number. So if you could just follow up on that. Okay. From the defense?
Nothing, Judge, at this time.
Okay. All right, with that then, we are in recess until tomorrow, 10 o'clock. I'll see you here about 9:50. Okay. Thank you very much. Have a good evening, everyone.